Good afternoon. I'm Jason Rzucidlo here at the 2018 Eyes on Design Automotive Exhibition. We're here at the Edsel and Eleanor Ford House. Stay tuned for the highlights.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
Chairman's Award. This year, this award was chosen by Mark Martini. He is the president of Bridgestone America Tire Operations, retired. Presenting the award with Mike is Tim Morantes, Senior Account Manager, Consumer OE Tire Sales.
Very mechanical, dual overhead cam, straight A. The racing versions were supercharged and nearly 300 horsepower, so they're just beautiful cars, very correct for the period, for late 30s period in France. The car, by the way, is owned by Mr. Keith Crane from Automotive News, Auto Week, Detroit Business. It's found a wonderful home.
By the way, that breeze that Dr. O'Malley ordered Marshall's Award. The Grand Marshal this year is Joe Ritchie Automotive Group. I think many of us know him. He actually hails here from Grosse Pointe Farm. He's also a Grosse Pointe Farm City Councilman. This award is presented by Bridgestone. Presenting the award will be Tim Morantes again. Now Joe doesn't want to speak to the car, but so I'm going to ask Steve to speak to this car.
Joe picked a wonderful car, and I guess the Auburn Speedsters, it's referred to as the Boatdale Speedsters. It's literally like an aircraft fuselage, just tapering if you can. Cockpit of an aircraft and the fast windshield. And if you look at these headlights, the lower headlights actually turn with the wheel, which is supposed to be some kind of a newfangled thing, but it was done as far back as 1928. It has a wonderful straight 8 engine, and obviously the side-mounted spares, and even this characteristic two-tone line. It has such a beautiful rhythm.
Fabulous car. Next, we'd like to recognize Ed Welburn. Ed Welburn this year is the recipient of our Lifetime Design Achievement Award. Ed's career here in Detroit has just been his career is really a storybook. I mean, for me, it's incredible because I actually was working on the cars and you were overseeing them and stuff during my career. So it's like, celebrating him is like celebrating my own life. So on Friday night, we had a black tie gala. It's held at the College of Creative Studies to honor Ed Welburn, former head of General Motors Design. During his illustrious 44-year career, Ed oversaw many designs, including the Corvette, Cadillac Escalade. He revived the Chevrolet Camaro, which came back as a total blockbuster. A number of concepts, including the Avista, in which several of these Ed has overseen, bringing here today. So welcome, Ed. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you. And first off, it's just been a great honor to receive that award on Friday evening, and to be there with so many friends and co-workers was great as well. The car we've got in front of us, I think, really speaks to the theme of inspiration. The design, it was designed as a concept inspired by the greatest of Buicks, Rivieras and Buick Specials from the 50s and cars like that, but done in a very contemporary way. And it was designed to inspire the Buick design team with every new Buick that they would develop. And I've got to say that every new Buick has been inspired by this particular design. It's a fun project too.
Okay. I'll put you on the spot just for 1 sec. We're used to seeing Buicks with the vertical grille bars, and it seems like there's a change there. What made you decide?
Well, and it was first done on this car, and now all Buicks that are going into production have got more of this wing shape in the grille. Buick is an international brand, and it just fits well in every market that Buick is in. And in some ways, it's a break from the past. In some ways, it goes back to Buicks in the 50s. It had a grille that was more like this than the verticals that Buick had later on.
Okay, we'll let you go with that.
We'll talk later. No, but really, that's it. If you look at Buick Centuries and some of the great Buicks from the 1950s, they had a grille very much like this. The good ones.
Thanks for bringing it. It's a beautiful car. Obviously, there's not much more you can say. It's just very contemporary, very modern, beautiful D-lines on it. It's just, thanks for bringing it.
Every line is like an artist's brushstroke.
Exactly. It has to be a gesture.
Yes.
Right.
Ed, I'd like you to stay up here for a few minutes. So now the next car coming up here is the Cadillac Cyclone. Now this is our poster car. I think everybody's seen our posters. And the headlights are turning on as it pulls up here. Thanks, Jacob. So, Ed just said, I never liked those headlights. But they work. So, can you tell us a bit about this car, Ed?
You know, it's kind of a corny story, but when I was 8 years old, my parents took me to the Philadelphia Auto Show. I was crazy about cars. And we're walking through the show, and the auto show was like my fantasy land. And all of a sudden, I saw this car. Didn't know what it was, but I saw this car, and I told my parents at that moment that when I grew up, I wanted to design cars for that company. And yeah, in reading car magazines, I found out where this car was designed, and I think I was 11 years old when I wrote my first letter to GM Design saying that I want to be a designer for you when I grow up. It's a corny story, but it's a true story.
You did okay.
And this is the car. Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did. Is that the exhaust in front of the front wheel?
Yes.
Well,
Which is right.
and these are radar domes in the fenders.
This radar. It was kind of like one of the first looks at a possible autonomous
It's
vehicle.
a self-driving car.
Yeah.
A parallel gear doors, and it has the fins.
In addition, this year, besides being an inspiration to Ed and Ed's entire career, it was also an inspiration for our poster. So all of you have noticed that the Cyclone's on the poster. What it is a sculpture.
All right, so it's a 1956 Buick Centurion. It's a concept car produced by Buick, so there's only one that's ever been produced, and it was debuted at a car show called Motorama in 1956. So one thing that's really interesting about this is if you look at the center of the dash, there's actually a TV screen there. That's because it has a backup camera in place of a rear view mirror. So on the back side, right in the center, there's actually a camera lens right there.
Oh, neat.
So the gear shift is right in the center of the steering wheel, just a little knob there. And the speedometer is right behind the steering wheel as well. It's that spinning disc. It would actually move to indicate the speed. So.
Oh, neat. Very good. So was this car also like at the Detroit Auto Show or any of those?
Not that I'm aware of. As far as I know, it was just at Motorama.
Okay. Can you talk to me about the engine, maybe the horsepower, any of that stuff?
It's got a V8 engine, 325 horsepower. So the engine no longer runs. It did at one time, but it doesn't now.
Oh, okay, interesting. And what are some of the other unique features? We got the bubble top, it looks like.
Yep, so we have a plexiglass bubble top. One disadvantage I could see of this is that on a day like today, it would get very warm inside of there. So.
Oh, I see.
You also have a lot of chrome detailing in there. You got chrome on the seat backs. Also, you can see it on the footwell on the driver's side and the passenger side there. One thing that's interesting with this is the headrests are actually motorized, so you have a button where you can raise and lower those.
And where was this one built or manufactured?
It was manufactured by Buick. As for the specific location, I'm not exactly sure.
Probably in Michigan. Right?
Probably in Michigan.
All right, very good. And I guess it never got off the ground because they never built these?
No, they never mass-produced them, so this is the only one. It was donated to the Sloan Museum in 1963, so about 7 years after it was produced.
Oh, I see. Very good. How much do you think it cost them to build this? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure the cost to build it, no.
Oh, okay. And who owns it now, the museum?
The museum owns it. It's a part of our permanent collections.
Okay, and that's in Flint.
Flint, Michigan, yes.
All right, good.